of Ghana. But first of all, how has your listening tour been like? I mean, looking at that video, looks like it's been going good.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, having an experience with different cultures, different traditional cultures, but one country. It's something that I think people should try and experience. Because for me, I'm not a musician, I'm not a footballer, so going on tour, it's something new for me.
Right.
But I just took the decision that I had to go for a listening tour and listen to the people. So out of the listening, I think I've learned a lot. And what I've seen and what they've told me and what they've requested and recommended, I felt like I took the right decision, to know about all of these places. So at least now I know Tamale, I know Bolga, I know Goso, I know Sefiwiaso, I know Techima, know Kumasi, Ashanti, Drabin, going to Takrade Central, Volta, everywhere. And I think it's been very helpful.
Nice. Very helpful.
Some results.
Okay. I mean, so prior to this, I mean, like you said, you're not a musician, so you don't tour the country.
I've never.
Clearly,
it's not like touring the country. I've never had a tour. It's like it's the first time I've done anything.
Going to other parts of the country, it wasn't your thing.
It's not just like, I mean, can you picture how complicated it would be if you were a businessman and all of a sudden you decide to stand for president and then all of a sudden you decide to go for a tour? Because being a businessman wouldn't take me on a tour. That I have to go with 20 people with cameras and maybe 30 people, security, moving from hotels to hotels, going to meet chiefs. And, it was such a great experience. And I don't think if I didn't take this decision, there's no way I would have had this chance. The only way is if I was a musician or if I was a footballer or if I was a star.
we'll come to music. So clearly you have seen places in Ghana that you didn't know existed.
Yes.
What are some of the things you've discovered as a person? Some of the stories you've heard. Can you paint that picture for us?
Truly, I have discovered like the problems we have in this country. Because if you're in Accra, you hear the noise about crisis. But when you go deep down to the grassroots, you see the problems that fall within the crisis. So it's no more talking. Now you're seeing it. Now you're feeling it. Now you could see hundreds of thousands of people are after the same thing, and you ask yourself the question, why can't they get it? That's the question I kept asking myself, that why would we starve them? Why would we let them down? Why should we have leadership and have such a bad governance that circulates within the region of the country? What would that equate to if we were to be summarized as leaders of Africa? What position would we be in? How big is the poverty issue? How big is the jobless people? How big is assessment for disability world? It's a lot. I think we, as a country, we have a lot to face. And it's one of the reasons why I had to take the decision I took, because I felt like I might be successful today, but that doesn't guarantee my child's future. Because we are not structured properly as a country. Our governance is not stipulated around the judiciary system and the legislation that would have to protect your citizen rights in future. And so I could have billions, but one government can just come and squander the billions, even if I left it with my children. So it's best that we start working on that and having these rights for ourselves, creating jobs and creating value for our people, and making sure that they are on their feet so they can become a proud Ghanaian. It doesn't matter which part of Ghana that they are. But Ghana is only active in Accra. The 15 regions is what I'm here to help to activate it.
But you can call yourself as being part of the youthful population, and your message has also sort of resonated with a lot of young people out there. But if we are to get into the cracks of the issue, you realize that a lot of young people most of the time do not necessarily understand the message. Do you think that your message of maybe creating jobs for the youth and making sure that their lives get better and all of that, it has resonated well with the young people, and there's a reason why we're seeing a lot of them follow you on your campaign tour or your listening tour?
Well, partly I think that has worked. Partly it's going to take some time for them to understand it fully. Just take a country that has been either misgoverned, misled, such audience would have a long-term perspective to understand something. Okay, because when it comes to development, they're running behind schedule. You know, they get worried. They don't know if it's going to work or if it's going to happen. So I think it's the first time people are hearing, you know, such messages like, can this be done? How would it be done?
Yeah.
And if so, how come it's not done by the others? But, you know, I'm taking my time to nurture, to educate, to explain, and to win the hearts of the youth, because really I came here to become the unifier for the youth and the women of this country, between the government and us. You know, because I think that I haven't seen the interest in how leaders of this country and most African countries have really created and built a future platform for the citizens, especially the ones who are coming. So we don't grow up with leadership skills. We don't grow up with entrepreneurial skills. We don't grow up with a lot of things, but we grow up with the mindset to go to school and get a degree, and you're going to get a job. I think that's too basic in the modern world for a person. And hence, this could be the reason why every chance any child or youth gets today to run away from where they belong to, they run away.
That's very true, honestly, because on social media, you see a lot of them talk about getting opportunities to travel out of Ghana because they think there are better opportunities out there. But let's look at a regular day in the life of Cheddar.
Before we do that, I'd like to ask this, Cheddar.
Give the man some chance. Give the man some chance. Come on.
I mean, Nana Kwame Bediako, I think you have my attention personally.
Thank you.
And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
In that we haven't seen a young man, very bold, standing up to, you know, our elders and saying that I'm going to compete for president. We're seeing what's happening in Senegal with, you know, Bassirou. One of the things you say on your tour and in many interviews that caught my attention was industrialization and changing the mentality of Ghanaians. Now, I know that we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and I am big on us competing with the world. You know, Africans competing with the world. As a young man, I want to be able... I'm
big on that too.
I want to be able to compete
I should call
with...
you Junior Cheddar.
Well, they say I look like you a little bit. I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
That's what they say.
No, then I'm not, but looking
I don't know. I'm looking at it myself too, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, how can a young man in Ghana compete with someone in Washington, D.C.? We know that now manufacturing and production is driven by what? Artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and all those things. I'm curious, what is your focus when it comes to industrialization?
What I think is the only thing that is still virgin in Africa. If there's the merit somewhere to be found, then definitely it's the industrialization. Okay, so let's just say that if we were the farmers for cotton, and then we had someone that we work for or have taught us how to farm cotton, but what they do is they come back and sell us a shirt or t-shirts for the price they want when it came from the cotton. See, you're going to find money to buy this shirt. And the cotton came from you. But the thing is, you didn't know the process, how the cotton went into yard, then it became a textile, then it became a pattern. Before it was sold, and then it was packaged, and then re-exported to you. So you are the cotton farmer, but you only enjoy the tertiary side of it. You don't know the primary side, you don't know the secondary side. And that is a gap that is missing in the African mentality. We don't have industrial skills. So our skill set is just based on common things like trading. You know, you see someone want to start a business in Africa, they put a table on the roadside, they buy things, whether it's from China, whether it's from Kumasi, Pocky, ice cream, milk powder, whatever, they put it on the table. You go to China, you see somebody wants to start business, they're in your father's factory. They're learning about how you mix this soil with this soil and add this adhesive to it and add this to it, and then it becomes a towel. And then by the time they're 24, they find something else apart from the towel, just because of how they've been learning, their learning process. So they have an industrial mentality. And if you look at the rest of the world that has developed to first-class world, their history was industrialization. Look at the men that built America, the likes of Rockefeller, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, all of these people, every one of them were industrialists. Well, that was their basic, should I say, profession. But some of them could be distributors naturally. Some of them were marketers. Some of them were something. But that is the core foundation of development in a country. Because you need to understand that if you have iron ore, it can go through a process to become a metal. Once it becomes a metal, you're not far away from fabricating the metal. Once you fabricate the metal, then you attract the mechanic that will put the mechanism in the metal. So then you have a machine. A machine is the robot you're talking about.
So is that where we are going?
Well, that's where the world is going.
Yes.
We're just not following.
And that's what's disturbing for me. Like, where are we?
Well, that's why I'm taking everybody now. Because I think that, the likes of Kwame Nkrumah, who started industrialization in the 60s. And that guy must have been a visionary to be thinking like that those days. But, one of my mentors is Mansa Musa, and I studied him in the 11th century. Oh. And he was still doing industrialization. Let me tell you how his industrialization was and how I learned from him. So one man had 12,000 slaves, 16,400 camels, and 60,000 followers. I mean real followers, not Instagram followers, human beings following him. Wow. And so when I did the breakdown, the 12,000 slaves were diggers. Today, that would be the power of excavating.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? The 16,400 camels, that was the logistics, the transportation. Each of them carried between 34 to 64 kilos of gold. And then the 60,000 followers were his traders, his brokers, his marketers, everything. So he had his own world. And he was moving. He was a moving industrialization. That's when I learned about it. And then the people who have gone closer to that are a few people. Some of them were Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Kwame Nkrumah learned from, such people, learned from Lee Cohen. And you saw Sheikh Ahmed. He just learned from the Singaporean leader. And then copied it. And look at Dubai today. If Dubai didn't industrialize Dubai, how would have all that water come to the desert? How would have all those factories be built? And how would they have put 100 floors in a space of 3 years? Well, where was the steel coming from? Bending all of those things and arranging it and all of that. It's all from industrialization. And besides that, what did they do? They created millions of jobs. The Sri Lankans ran there, Indians ran there, Africans ran there. They were all getting jobs. And guess what? They use them to build their country.
Seems like you have a very daunting task ahead of you.
Exactly.
I'm wondering how you're going to convince young people to come along with you on this journey.
I think that's what I do, and that's what we should do. With life, the only thing that you have that is more important than life itself is time. Yeah. When you run out of time, there's no value for life. True. So look at the times that you can use to do the best for yourself. And mostly is when you're young. Okay? When you're old, is the times for you to remember the best times. Sure. Okay? So it's not for you to really enjoy life, but you're remembering the best times, and that's graceful. Yeah. So you can give the best of advice. Yeah. But you shouldn't be trying to build a future for your child or your children. Your children should be taking care of you because you took care of them. Okay, they will be at the position that time to take care of you. So
that's very interesting.
I think it's a good mindset, by the way.
Yeah, I think we Africans should start to take power into our hands and be accountable and responsible to take care of our elders. Yeah. We should not sit there for them to think that I'm going to do this to help you, only to let you down and disappoint you. Now, I'm not here to blame the leaders because I don't think that is the solution. I'm here to continue from wherever the problem has left off and see where I can take it to. Because I don't believe that the best time to learn is when you try to learn. The best time to learn is when you're truly wrong and you accept it. Yeah. That's when you can get the chance to learn. That's when you see the value in learning. And today I've learned from a lot of great leaders who have made mistakes.
Right.
All right, so can we get lighter? Yeah.
I don't want to get lighter, but let's get lighter.
I know.
What if we can bounce on and off?
He's so interested in,
when it comes to one woman and two men,
I'm sandwiched.
We have to just create a balance, right?
Yeah.
Because the women are going to feed you one
I
way or
agree.
the other. So
I agree on that.
let's
So allow me to feed.
let's
Mommy.
make Miss Akufu go.
Mommy, please, let's go.
But Cheddar, how's a typical day like for you? Are you a businessman? You're now a leader. Well, you say you don't want to call yourself a politician. You're a leader.
I have always been a leader.
Yeah.
This is not new to me. And my typical day is very simple. I just try to make the best out of time, like I said already. And so I have a basic routine and a template of living life.
Okay.
And the first thing is the command of speed. That's my first rule. The rule and the command of speed. So when I wake up at 6 o'clock. I spend 1 hour to praise and pray.
Okay.
It's part of me getting in touch with the universe, with the mightiness, and making me energetic again. I think maybe my kids and my family, my wife, they might think sometimes I'm crazy because they can hear me every morning. But
Wait, you're speaking in tongues?
Not tongues, but praying, and the things that I want, I pray and ask the universe for it. I ask God for it. I ask the universe to be a force behind me.
Do you ascribe to a denomination?
No.
You don't. So you wouldn't say you're a Christian per se, or Muslim, or traditionalist?
I grew up, I still go to church. I'm a Christian, but I just think that people have labeled themselves with tribes and religion. I'm not the type that, I go to church, I make sure that I do what I have to do. I pay my tithes is one thing that I don't fail with. I do a lot of things for the church, and God does a lot of things for me in return. But, for me, I think that personal prayers is something that should be part of my life, and I do that. After I go to the gym, I run for 30 minutes. That's like 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers.
That's impressive.
Yeah, every day.
On a treadmill?
Yeah, on a treadmill or a cross trainer.
Okay.
Then after I put my clothes on, and maybe before I sleep, the night before, I scribble some things that I'll be doing the next day, that are in the diary. And then once I get in the car, the business starts from there. And then I work from maybe 8:30 to 8:30. And then I come home. So the truth is, people don't really see me. They just hear of me, and they make all these stories. But what they never ask themselves is that, who is the craft? Who is the mastermind behind all these stories that is happening? Why are we talking about him? Because I let people pay me attention. I don't seek it. And I don't believe in competition.
Well, also, we see a lot of your posts on
that's what I'm saying.
media.
Like, most of the posts you're seeing, it's not by me.
Right.
People just pick my stories. Like right now, if I leave here, I might just drop a headline, and then it will be everywhere, and everyone will make their story.
Yeah.
And everyone make a story with it. But guess what? I kind of enjoy it because, this is the process of maturity and time. Because I feel like when I'm 70, people are not going to have this time for me to talk about me.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be talking about the things I did in the past or whatever machines I've built today. I'm sure people respect Microsoft more so than they respect Bill Gates because, they're more indebted to Microsoft. They just know the name Bill Gates. But when you look at it in real life, Bill Gates is a branded name that can last maybe 1,000 times longer than Microsoft. When he's dead and gone, his legacy can go on like King Solomon. We don't remember the palace that King Solomon ruled from. We don't even remember the names of his concubines, but we remember King Solomon.
He had quite a lot. So.
Yeah, so that's like the basic my day life. But when it comes to business, like I become like some sort of nerd with genius and a thinker. Like I'm a puzzleist.
Okay.
I can't do one thing in one go. I have to be doing like 20 things at the same time, and I have to be connecting them and then time them. That by 2020, this is what I want to be like. This is what I want to look like. 2024, this is the opportunity that I want to get out of a nation, out of a country, out of a world, out of Africa. So I think I overthink.
Yeah.
You overthink. So
Yeah.
you're an overthinker.
I am a thinker thief.
I think at you. That's the first time I'm hearing that word.
I am a thinker thief. And it's been good because I realize in the 20s, making money now is no more hard working, but it's rather hard thinking. So the benefits are coming.
What's the most daring thing you've ever done?
The most daring thing.
Would you say running for president? Is that the most daring thing you've done?
No, actually challenging the wind when I was young.
Okay.
The wind.
Yeah, and then there was the first time I had an experience with a whirlwind, you know, and that's when I really started respecting nature. Nature is powerful. There is more to nature, you know, like the tree, the plants, the sun, the moon, the day, the night. You know, there are things in there, you know, the
You
soil.
challenged the whirlwind?
Yeah,
I
don't understand.
Yeah, it was in Kumasi. I was young, and I thought I was going to die for a minute, you know, and it only happened like, you know, 45 seconds kind of
Okay.
thing. But, you know, it's like asking for something and seeing something. Like, did I see God?
Okay.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing, that kind of moment.
How old were you then?
Oh, I was young. I was maybe 9 years old.
9 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty
But
young.
I have a strong memory, you know, and I don't forget things. I can forgive, but I don't like to forget.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Very interesting.
forgive, I
But
can forgive.
we were on the streets to ask people that if they had the chance, what question would they ask you? I'm sure you'd be interested in finding out what they had to say. And so let's hit the streets and find out what questions you have for Cheddar.
Well, I would ask him about our educational system, whether he has anything new to offer or change it totally, because that's our main problem. Our educational system hasn't shaped us too well. It hasn't prepared us for the industry. It has also hasn't prepared us too much for the academia.
I'll definitely ask him, like, what's his real vision for Ghana. I'm not seeing anything positive from him.
I'll ask him about the available job opportunities and then maybe the way forward.
I'll ask him that, what is the plans for the youth? If, should any case he becomes the president, what is the plans for the youth?
And those are some questions for presidential aspirant Nana Kwame Bediako. I think what caught my attention in that was the guy who spoke about our educational system.
Yeah, educational system is the kind of questions I've been answering a lot. And I think a lot of people are worried. And in fact, one of my response to it is that our educational system is not far from a scam. You know, and the reason why I used those words were, if our average person worked for 1,000 or 2,000 cities and they struggle so much to educate one or two of their children for 21 years, thinking that after the 21 years, their investment will reap them benefits. And that's by their children getting, their child or their son or their daughter getting a job to take care of them. And by that time, there are no jobs. After the 21 years, if this was anywhere else in the world but Ghana, that we're used to that already, you attack the government. You would think they scammed you. Because why do you tell me to educate my children and get them degrees so they can get a job, and when I finish, there are no jobs. There's nothing. And some people are still staying with their mothers and all of that. Here's what I think I can do to change the educational system. I think, first of all, we need to learn about our surrounding. Everything around our surrounding is what we need to learn about, first of all. That's what we need to educate ourselves with. If our educational system taught me how I can process my cocoa to 7 different things, I would be growing up as a vigilant, a resilient, aggressive industrialist or a farmer that wants to get one machine that would turn that cocoa seed that I get or harvest into powder or into chocolate that somebody else will come and buy. And so I create jobs out of it. If I was being taught about the value of my gold, that it can be hedged for currency stability, if it can be used for trading aspect, if it can be used for financial district to create all of these things, I will start to value the gold. I'm not going to release it for anyone to take it away. I'll have the most reserves and everyone will be learning about it. So it's about also educating the people about our resources, our leaders, the mistakes they did, the smartness, the vision they brought that helped us, and all of that. But our educational curriculum, it's completely twisted. You're studying 21 subjects for 21 years, only to find out that you only have to pick 1 or 2 of them to live with it. And all the 21s was chew and pour. So you had to just get yourself corrected. And some of it was about Christopher Columbus and something and outside and the Western world and this and that. And you forgot about your own product.
Yeah.
So I think that the government should actually intercede into the academia curriculum and make it more vibrant. So one of the things that we want to introduce in the educational system, and as you can see, I'm doing a university tour as well. At the same time, you saw it in the tour. Now, I'm bringing a university challenge where someone have to win $1 million, a group of people. And the reason why
$1 million?
Yeah.
Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Wow.
And so the reason why I did that was I wanted the people to propose like a presentation of a business, industrial business, government business, art gallery, all of this. And whoever is so professional with their presentation, that's the person that wins the 1 million. I did that not because I have so much to give away. I did that because I wanted someone to win the million, and we have to help them to build a business out of it so they can start to learn about entrepreneurism and also to have the skills of leadership and then benefit from networking. Because why are we all in these thousands of universities and there's no connection? People are not coming together, raising capital and using the capital to start business before they come out of university. So they actually come out of university with a degree. And most people go back to their mother's homes because one, the job is not there anyway. No job is seeking for you when you're there. And then even if you have a degree, sometimes just going across Togo, they don't recognize your degree.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to change the system completely. Not to say that stop everything and turn it around, but slowly we need to tweak it towards our minerals, towards our resources, towards our own mistakes that we're correcting. That can traditionally help us to build our economy around a culture that we belong to. Because after all, this is where we're from. And most of us, even if we go to America, we die, they'll bring us back here to come and bury us. So this is where you truly belong to. And if you are going to establish the template of your success, then it will be from the land you belong to. If you're going to educate yourself, then you should be able to learn from smart and intelligent people from your grounds. And I think these are some of the things that I want to bring into education. Entrepreneurship, empowerment, leadership, and capital institution. You know, we chase more capital market than capital institution. Once we're able to create an institution and let it grow with a capital, you know, it's very hard to dissolve it.
Right.
And it transcends.
So basically, tailored education.
Yeah.
And I am a student of history, so I think one of the things that fascinates me has to do with the Suez Canal. And yes, and I read some of the canals that have been built all over the world. Panama, Netherlands has a lot of them. Of course, one of the things that has generated conversation around you has to do with the dredging of the sea to Kumasi. When you look at something like the Suez Canal, it separates Africa and Asia, and it became a short route for Europe and America, you know, to trade and move around, for vessels to move. What is the end goal? Is Kumasi the end goal?
No. I mean, look, and thank you very much for asking me this question, because I like to have such platforms to be able to explain so people can get, you know, the further explanation to understand it better. So first of all, Kumasi, I chose Kumasi because it's the only region, the Ashanti region, that has the best of sensitivity in terms of the issue water dredging and water transportation. There is a history with water when it comes to the Ashanti region. Okay? Our first king crossed the river. He was warned not to, and he did not come back. The head neither came back too.
Right.
Okay? And then we lost most of our Ashantis in the slave trade. They used the same route to take them to Cape Coast and ship them off. So Ashanti, when they found out about the sea where their people left off, you know, they wanted to claim it, but they couldn't, because at that time, I think the colonial masters had already demarcated Ghana. Ghana just means Guans, Hawazes, I think Akans, Nzema North, and Alates. So it was just based on the grouping that they put GHANA together.
Interesting.
It was just the Gold Coast, right? But the Gold Coast ended up in Cape Coast when the people had gone. So for me, I already knew that connecting the waters is hugely part of my industrial plans, industrialization, to create water transportation. So when I was building Petronia as an industrial hub, my next project that I've been working on is coastal transportation, something to stop the Westerners from just crossing our waters without borders.
Right.
You know, so I knew that would create us a lot of income, because I realized that they were bringing more than they were taking now.
Yeah.
We were importing more, but there were no borders. The borders start from Barcelona, and when they get on the water, they just drop in port and port and port and port. But I want industrialization, and I would need, of course, logistics with it. But I chose a place to raise the topic. If I had said this same thing in Volta, it's not a surprise to them. There's Volta Lake. Yeah, if I say I'll bring seeds to there, they say there's big water here already. We're not doing anything with it. But Ashanti. Once I used Kumasi, the topic became a headline. And it was even stronger than the football they were playing, all the games and everything. You know, how come one man said one thing and people take it so serious? You know why? Because it's a fact that we have been running from. And we just realized that we haven't. The only person in 100 years that has gone close to water is Kwame Nkrumah. That's by creating one of the biggest man-made lakes. After that, they didn't do anything with it. Sure. He took it all the way to Bono border. At that time, that Bono border was part of Ashanti. So it was like a message that Kwame Nkrumah even sent to the Ashantis. That I brought the water here, but I won't extend it. do you understand what I'm saying? So it's something that is already there. But I realized that the opportunity of dredging this water and connecting them, one, is going to bring us a new transportation system with speed. You see, most canals are built because it cuts the mileage. So if you're going on road, if it's 500 kilometers, canal will make it 220 kilometers. True. Less than half. Okay? And then canal would bring 500 or 2,000 containers, when the road, you will need 2,000 cars to take 2,000 containers.
Interesting.
Okay?
Okay.
I see you want to ask more, but
no, just the last one on this. Yes, just the last one on this. I mean, imagine you had two terms. In fact, it is two terms if you want to be president. So this is realistic for ATS regime?
No, it can even, 4 years, some waters can be connected. I mean, look at River Pra and look at River Ofinso. These two rivers are in Kumasi, and it actually connects to each other. Ofinso connects to Pra. Pra connects to Cape Coast. So that's already the path there.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I saw.
Exactly. So once you're able to connect these waters and dredge it, it means now you've given a chance for water transport to occur in that area. But that's not the only thing that is going to happen. This is what happens when you marry waters. You bring new life to the environment. You bring new children to the environment, because water is what circulates on our grounds. It's what feeds the system on the floor. Right. And the floor is what feeds us. Yeah. Okay, if it's poisoned, we're all poisoned. Okay, like today is Galamsey. You know, they're poisoning the waters, and their food is being poisoned. And if we're eating that food, after 10 years, there'll be the aftermath. Absolutely. Okay, so I realized that I've been studying development. You know, I'm not just getting up and say I want to be a president. You know, I have enjoyed how these leaders have built their countries in 40 years. Some of them in 50 years. So Singapore and Dubai were two countries that were developed from afresh in the 20th century. Is it 20th century? Yeah, in the 19th. Yes, in the 19th. Yeah. They developed these two countries. Now, when you look at how they did it, and you try to learn from them, you are going to see that most of these things they did was connecting the waters. So now, if we want to develop Ghana, we can't develop Ghana with that road that our colonial masters left for us, Accra to Kumasi, and it's only two roads, and then on the side is villages, and you know, you can't bring articulator, tanker, Uber, private car, buses on this same road. Well, the minute that you cut the waters into place, what you're going to find out is that there is one land on this side, and there is one land on this side. This is where development starts from. So when you're in England and they tell you you're driving through a tunnel, there's the water around it. When you drive after the Blackwall Tunnel and then you go 10 minutes down, you're going to see London Bridge. What is the bridge? It's water. Okay? That same water is the Thames, is linking the city. It sort of balances the weather, the climate, and then it feeds the ground, irrigation. Then it brings tourism. So you can only develop a country by the waterways. It's even in the Bible. All of these things, yes, it's waterways. The people are crossing water. They say God is coming to spoil the world with what? Water. Right. Water.
I love the fact that you brought in tourism, meaning that it ties into this whole dredging and creating waterways and everything you're talking about. And you know, tourism as well is one of the activities or the sectors that rakes in a lot of revenue. And the Ghana Tourism Authority this year mentioned that the December in GH activities brought in millions of tourists, and also we got some billions of Ghana cedis. And as Nana Kwame Bediako, who you're very big on tourism and all of that, what are your plans for this creative industry, this industry that brings in a lot of people into the country?
I think, first of all, we just need to industrialize the platforms that support the creative industry. Let's take fashion, for instance. If we're talking about cotton from the beginning of this conversation, it's only a machine that can turn the cotton into yard and bring it to textile. Before you cut your patterns and some designer will say, my name is Maulio Kujato and this is my clothes. Because you need to be able to produce at least thousands of patterns, produce them in a day. So when you're talking of supply, off shelves, before you go to Nigeria, England, everything, is because you have the power of production. The reason why we're buying Gucci and Versace is because of the power of production. If they didn't have the power of production, there would be nothing like Gucci. Okay, he can only produce 10 samples, 20, 50. They can't do more. So it's industrialization. It's the same thing with our music, right? If we don't have the authentic switch that is connected to a lot of distributional platforms, there is no way one music can reach the world. Now, let me give you a good example. FIFA is considered to be a football association, but their actual skills and profession is not that. They're media gurus. And that is because they're broadcasters. They're global broadcasters. That's where the main money is coming from. Okay. It's the fact that they are able to show 11 players here, 11 players there, to almost 200 countries and control. And that's what makes them the mafia of the business. But they're not going to tell you that, oh, the Football Association is that. It's all a cover-up. You know, when you look at the most successful people in the world, they have one simple profession. Dangote is a distributor. He's the black richest man in the world. You see him and they will tell you he sells flour and cement, and his business is the distribution. So he knows all the paths. All the paths that the cars will get on to distribute to the people who are demanding the products. That's what his skills is. Jeff Bezos is king of logistics. You know, he realized that everybody wait at home. I'll bring it to you. That's all. He gets paid. So his logistics. These are the things I think we should take very serious. You know, when it comes to industrialization, what do you think? Jeff Bezos is building huge warehouses that has millions of items in there. And he has robots controlling it. But he makes sure that it doesn't matter. Within 24 hours, you have it. Before that, there was DHL. Within 6 days, you get it. Once he brings that, he's slowly closing the business of DHL. It's like the people that brought MP3. They were slowly closing CDs and cassettes. And then when someone brought iTunes, they took all of them out. So it's all about when you are ready to industrialize yourself, you learn about the resources around you, and then you get the skill set from it. So that skill set, it's what you keep advancing with the world. As fast as the world is going, then you come with an advancement, and then you join the economy. That's what I'm bringing to the country.
All right, but you know, let's talk about music, because you used to be in that space, the creative space in terms of music and investing heavily as well. We know you're friends with most of these musicians, and all. Do you still intend making those investments? You are talking about distribution platforms, and in Ghana we don't have that much, and so our music, if you do not push, it means your music is not going anywhere. What do you think you can do, or do you think you're still going to maybe make some more investment in the music space?
No, I think the music in Africa is doing very well.
Not in Ghana.
Our genre is by far maybe the #1 now in the world. Okay, we've done very well. We've come a long way. When I was into music, I was into music mostly for sending a message. That's one thing I wanted to do. And if you look, the first music I brought out was called Africa Unite.
I think you sang it yourself?
No.
Okay,
I co-wrote it for Scientific. Yes, and
okay.
Africa Unite was the first artist to go on MTV.
You used to manage him?
Yeah, it was on my record label.
Yeah,
so
Wonderworld, right?
Yeah, Wonderworld. Right. So I had the real estate and I had the music, entertainment and all of that. But you see, I wanted to send a message to Africans. If you listen to the content of the music, I was talking to almost every leader in Africa. And that's how I actually met Gaddafi, because of the music, through his son. And, he's one of the people that I looked up to the most. I thought that his leadership was, tremendously phenomenal. It was astronomical. When I thought of people like that and we lost them, I feel like I need to replace him. I need to continue the vision of Kwame Nkrumah. I got inspiration from them. The point I'm trying to make is I don't go into any industry for free. I learn. I make sure I leave footprints, and I make sure I control wealth. I'm a wealth builder. I'm a humanitarian philanthropist. So you're not going to get to use me for free, and don't think my investment it's also for free.
So, in a nutshell, what are you trying to say then?
Well, the point I'm trying to say is that some people would probably stand there and say, oh, this guy's gone into politics, he's going to waste his money and this and that. No, my investment is very well calculated and is well measured. Okay, I know that, first of all, I could become the kingmaker, and I will be able to get what I want by making sure that the 16 regions are industrialized and the youth get the jobs. And then I would be able to create economy within these regions, and I will be remembered for that. If that doesn't happen, that means maybe God wants me to be a president right away. Then please, bye-bye. Whoever that is ready to join me, let's go quickly and fix the problem. Now, even if, let's just say the two biggest things doesn't happen, I've already measured everything and realized that the sort of counteractions, the sort of introductions, the sort of campaign that I've done, this is an establishment that even in 4 years, if you saw me again, it's not going to be that much work.
Absolutely.
So it's all measured.
Absolutely. Very smart, I
Yeah.
must say, and well said. So for me, what I've gathered from everything you've said is all about industrialization, industrializing our country, basically in every field, every industry.
Through industrialization, sorry to interrupt, we have decided that we've created like a capital for startups.
Right.
So as long as it's a startup and it's industrialized, not anybody coming to tell me, give me money to go and bring shirts from China so I can sell to make profit. But as long as you're bringing something, I'm building a technology platform. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, farming, I'm doing this, I need processing, plant, this, that. We'll help you with the capital. I want to move that away for the youth, because this kind of money could be just 10 million, 20 million, $100 million, and it will help 1 million people to start growing in our system. If we're able to create 1 million millionaires, well, if Ghana doesn't want to, I want to. Okay? I want you to do this math, right? It's one of my ultimate mottos that if I create 1 million millionaires, I will take 10% from the 1 million people.
We don't mind.
Well, but I would do that, and guess what? 10% of 1 million by 1 million, it's 100 billion.
Yeah.
I'll be definitely richer than the country. So let's be aware, Ghana, be careful. You might not want me today, but when I'm coming back, I won't come back as you wanting me. I'll probably come back to buy the country.
That's a good one.
That's a headline, by the way.
That's a good one. Just quickly, picking on the lighter side of you again, what kind of music do you, since you manage someone like Scientific?
Yeah.
I hear Ifya was on your label as well? Was she?
No, Afia has been my friend. Afia?
Oh, yeah.
The musician?
She was not on Wonderworld?
No, she probably was hanging around with the boys.
Right.
Because that's where Payday everybody started from. They were just D-Black, everybody was there.
Right.
Wizkid.
That was how many years ago?
Oh, 2004.
Oh, that's a long time.
And I was telling them about today and yesterday. So these guys, I'm sure they have a lot of respect for me. Some of them have even grown gray, like, and they have to come back to me for looking young, medicine, whatever I have to sell to them.
You need to give you 10% too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But I think a lot of people were just hanging around at that time, in 2004. And at the same time, 2006, I started the iWallet mobile money, which someone
that
obviously
as well.
stole the idea, gave it to MTN around 2011. Today, they're the biggest bank in Africa. So, we Africans have some great ideas, great knowledge, but it's just that we don't have great supporters.
So what music are you listening to on a daily?
I grew up listening to people like Tracy Chapman, Kenny Rogers. I like country music, but I've listened to hip hop. I've listened to all type of music, but I would rather listen to like maybe hip hop or hip life when I'm outside in a
When you're
club.
outside Ghana.
No, when I'm outside in a nightclub or something, which today I don't go there, so I probably would find it hard to listen unless to the radio, but that can make me think not enough time to babble. I have more time to create, to execute, to achieve things which are like big decisions and big visions. So I like things that relaxes my mind. And half of the dozen times I barely listen to music because I didn't grow up having television or radio in my house.
Putting you on the spot. Kendrick or J. Cole? Since you listen to hip hop.
Sorry?
Kendrick or
Lamar or J. Cole?
I like both. I think they.
I knew you were going to run away from this one.
No. I like both. I think I respect Jacob because I think he's the most modest character in hip hop. I've never seen him wearing a watch or a chain. He's so simple.
J. Cole?
Yeah, J. Cole.
Right.
He's in a different world, and his lyrical content is strong, but it's relatively to his audience. Now, Kendrick, on the other hand, is like a mixture of Tupac, Busta Rhymes, anything. Like he can switch different kind of characters. So it's a chameleon. Like I like him. But I think I respect both of them. I don't really like to choose a preference. I like to enjoy what is there. Like
Then I want to ask you, Sir, what your man
I know.
It's
No.
It's
In
okay.
Ghana, which artists do you have on your playlist?
I like all of them. I like
Really?
Shatta Wale. I like Stonebwoy. I like Sarkodie. I like Sharif. I like Jackie. The Ghanaian artists are good.
Yes.
They're good payday guys. These guys are to be like, I listened to the song where they did Walayi and Odome Preku. I thought that, the versatility was quite gappy, but very nice and very pumping. So we do have
We
talent.
like the fact that you're upbeat with music, and I mean that's great.
I like to know what is happening in the world.
Yeah, you know what's happening. Everything that's
I like anything. I want to know what is happening with Trump. I want to know what is happening with America, with Asia, with Russia, with Nigeria, with Ghana. I like to know everything. Like
Student of life.
Life. That's the right words for
But
it.
let's also talk about your sense of fashion. You have a very unique sense of fashion. And
Thomas Shelby.
Nana Kwame Bediako. If I don't know how to describe it, I think it's impeccable. Like, what inspires your sense of fashion?
Well, I think when I was growing up, when I woke up, also, it's how I felt was based on how I looked.
Okay.
It wasn't because there was food on the table. It wasn't because I was poor or rich. It's how I felt from inside and outside. Like I was myself. So that's the freedom I grew up with. Just being me. So I don't really have a fashion sense. People are forced to make sense out of my fashion because I'm really in my world. Like what I want is what I wear. How I don't like to copy people. You might see people wearing suits and walking with a hat with something, but nice, but it's me. And I think if we were courageous enough to be ourselves, then the best thing to be is to be ourselves.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Last one. Do you watch football? Are you a football
not
fan?
really,
You're
not
a
really.
football fan.
And then the reason why I don't watch football a lot, some of my friends ask me because I have a lot of football friends, a lot, and heavyweight footballers. I was just together with like some guys, Vinny and Memphis, and all of these people. And the video I remember, like I was surrounded by maybe 20 stars, and they were telling me some of them is like number one in the world now. I said, which one? So they showed me and all of that. But one time, my friends asked me, why don't I watch football? And there were a lot of footballers sitting, and I had to explain to them that, listen, guys, you take $500,000 every week. I don't know how to get $500,000 a week. I know how to make millions, but it doesn't take me days and weeks to make so. Now, if you want me to use 2 hours of my time a day be watching you and following you. How am I even going to get to 100,000 a week before I pass you with that 500,000? So my time is calculated in such a way that I just don't want to put it for either drinking or watching and looking. Now, I'm going to explain something to you guys in the difference of watching, looking, and viewing. When you're viewing, it means you're authoritative. You're viewing over what belongs to you. When you're looking, it means you're curious. You're looking at what is around you. When you're watching, you're security. You're just looking and watching. But when you start viewing what is around you, it makes you focus.
Yeah.
It makes you the visionary that you're supposed to become. And I like to leave people with this last thing that, you know, they should make sure they view and review everything around them, including their constitution, their governance, their family regulations, the legislation, all the things that is around us. Let's view it again. And most of it all, I would like to end with this since we're talking about football. The two things about Manchester, you like football, so you know Manchester City, right? Manchester United was the football team I've always liked. Okay? And I hope to buy it one day.
Okay. Amen to that.
So, amen. So, Manchester United and Liverpool, the reason why these two football teams came by was because of the canal. They dredged water, and they wouldn't allow them to bring ships into Manchester, but they were taking the water there, and eventually they did it, so they became rivals.
Right.
This is something everyone that's listening to me can Google now.
Indeed.
And then they will find out, and that is what made the teams, and today look at them, they're all wealthy.
I mean, this time we have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
We need more time. So we're looking forward to having a day in the life of Kwame Bediako.
Oh, I'm doing that. We could just
Right.
and two people. No, in fact, it's three people. Kojo Sheldon and Woody Meyer.
Right.
But I'm yet to talk to Nama McBrown about it because I wanted one woman to do that with.
Why
So-
not the afternoon show?
So, like I'm telling you, like that's the three that my team is working on. I'm sure that it will be great to talk to you.
Definitely.
We'll definitely come about
Yeah,
it.
we
Thank you so
definitely
much.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Wishing
you.
you all the best.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and you see a lot of love on social media, and we see all your comments and our posts and our live stream as well. But we have a message for you before we